and then you could just come back home again at the end of the day. That's how I see the future of transport anyway, and not things like skateboards that go up in the air and things like that, because that's obviously very chaotic. You wouldn't have more than a few people actually being able to take part in that fun without people giving themselves a nasty accident. But my idea is basically not to make things necessarily all that much faster in travel, but to make them so comfortable and make it so that while you are in that space, it's your own space. You can do what you like. If you want to make it so that you want to be sociable, for extroverts, you can, paint yourself a certain colour. It means I want to chat with people that I don't that I don't know. I'm in the mood for chatting. That would be a certain colour code on your cubicle. I want to spend my time, engaging in sauciness and fornications and what have you with people that I don't know in order just to pass the time. That would be a certain colour. And if anybody was daring enough to want to do it, they could put it on and watch everybody else laugh. If anybody wanted to, for example, let them know that they were, sexually available to either the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever, then they could have colour codes for all of those different things, rather than anybody just taking a car, the colours which happen to they like, without actually giving any particular message. You could actually colour code your intelligent glass using, that's it. You could use intelligent glass to change the colour depending on what you wanted to be saying to the world that morning. If you were in the mood to be left alone, or you were just put in a certain colour which would tell people, I'm working, please don't bother me, and then you'd be bothered the minimal amount, I suppose. That's how I envisage the future of transport in cities and between cities. Between cities, you would just stick them on the trains, and the trains would go. Whether the trains could be put on this kind of road that could be then given over to trains. So there you've got the old Polizei, the German Polizei. I decided to cover up my piece of technology a little bit more with the hand, so you probably saw my hand coming up a bit then. Sorry about that if you're a handy phobe. Handy, by the way, is an interesting word. The Germans use the term handy to mean mobile phone. Because it comes from English, they think, or of course the term handy sounds like an English word. It is of course an English word, it means something completely different. Handy has a meaning of its own, and it isn't mobile phone. But Germans then use the term to English people while speaking English, and are surprised when we say, well, I understand the words that you're saying, but what you're telling me doesn't make sense. What do you actually mean by that? The Germans are confused. Why aren't you understanding me? What is this willful non-understanding of my perfect English? Nevertheless, Germans in the main will try to speak to you in English, even if your German's much better than their English. So that's just the way they like to. It's almost loss of face for them to not speak English to an Englishman who's around. They feel it terribly, because it's part of their school curriculum to do English and to do it well. So to not be able to do it would be like admitting to being uneducated. So that's why it's very hard for them to let you speak to them in German and not try and speak to you in English, even if you've come all this way to Germany and you want to. You came to practice your German. Okay, well, my wife's enjoying her book, which is what you're reading. Solzhenitsyn. Oh dear, that's a bit of a harrowing book. First Circle, w krugie pierwszym, by In the First Circle. I think we just call it First Circle in English, by Solzhenitsyn. Anything by Solzhenitsyn is harrowing. I imagine that just having a conversation with Solzhenitsyn would have been relatively harrowing. But there you go, some of the brightest people aren't necessarily the easiest to to be getting along with nice and easy-going way. You know, he wasn't happy in Russia, so in the end they let him go. He went to America, and everybody would have thought this is a big victory for our system, because their great literary figure wanted to come here, he didn't want to stay there. We've got him now, ha ha ha. And then all of a sudden he starts criticising America no less than criticised the country that he came out from. So, and he's perfectly correct. Actually, what he said in the main was, I've got a lot of time for the things he said, but doesn't make him easy necessary to get along with. Why should he be? Why should he be? Anyway, covered a couple of topics, didn't we, there, which I wasn't even intending to. I was just intending to cover the topic of what the border looked like, and already we're a little way into the country. And 13 minutes have just flown by, which is why I like talking to you guys. You're such good listeners. Thank you for that. Here's a charming cameo inside of the Sunny Fair this time. I love the adverts they have inside Sunny Fair, actually. Every fifth, jeder fünfte ist betroffen. So it affects 1 in 5 of you, or all of us. There's a gentleman holding his amazing pair of underpants, I think that's Felix, and the woman, possibly his wife or some other woman, is looking in and sees that he is already done and dusted. Vorzeitiger Samenerguss ist behandelbar. Premature ejaculation is treatable. So bei vielen Paaren ist der Sex oft allzu schnell vorbei. For many couples, sex is often over all too quickly. Was die meisten nicht wissen, what most people don't know is, hinter dem zu früh kommen steckt häufig eine körperliche Störung. Behind coming too soon, there is often a physical disturbance. Knapp 4 Millionen Männer und deren Partnerinnen sind davon allein in Deutschland betroffen. So just in Germany, around 4 million men and their partners are affected by this in Germany. Jetzt gibt es Hilfe, die Liebe länger zu genießen. Now there's help in order to enjoy love for longer. Lassen Sie sich von einem Arzt beraten. Allow yourself to be advised by a doctor. So more information under this website. Isn't that interesting? It says 1 in 5, and then it says 4 million men. So that means that there's only 20 million men in Germany. They said it, not me.